That's better. Can everybody hear me okay? I said, can everybody hear me okay? Fantastic. Well, that's a lovely warm welcome today. I don't know if anybody can hear the music in the background. It's Miley Cyrus, The Climb. And today, what I'm going to talk to you, hopefully very motivationally about, is careers. Now, some of you have probably ever been asked, when and what would you like to do when you go to school? Now, certainly the first slide up on the screen there today, you can see what I get up to on a regular basis. How many of you like animals? Give me a big cheer if you like animals. Yeah. But when we're very young, like about your age, not my age, because I'm very old now, you often get asked the next question. What do you want to do when you leave school? Put your hand up if you can tell me what you want to do when you leave school. Let's come round. What do you want to do? Police officer. Fantastic. Let's come down this way. What do you want to do? Fireman. What did you want to do? Lamborghini engineer. Oh, I hope you're successful at that one. Right, let's come round this way. Let's come over this way. There's a young lady there who wants to tell us. What are you going to tell us?
A singer.
Singer. Fantastic. Young gentleman over there.
Basketball player.
Okay. Fantastic. What was it?
A basketball player.
Basketball player. Should we just take one more? That gentleman in the orange and grey jacket down there.
Formula
Let's see
One
what he's got to say. Sorry?
Formula One driver.
Oh, a Formula One driver was that. Fantastic. Now, when I was very, very little, I wanted to do something very different. And I bet none of you will probably guess what I wanted to be when I was about this high. Anybody like to have a guess? Right, let's go to this young lady here. Tell me. What do you think I wanted to do?
A zoologist or something?
No, nothing to do with animals at all. That's something I wanted to do. There's a gentleman at the back there who looks like he knows. Let's go and find out what he says.
Is it
Can't hear him.
I've just forgotten.
You've forgotten. Right, there's one more chap over there. Let's see if he can guess it.
Is it going to be a toilet cleaner?
Is it what, sorry?
A toilet cleaner.
Can't hear you. Come all the way down the back here. Tell me.
Toilet cleaner.
A toilet cleaner. Well, I'll tell you what, my friend. You get the prize for the best guess today, but it's nothing to do with toilet cleaning. Give him a big round of applause, if you will, everybody. There you go. So that's the most bizarre answer I've ever heard, Mars bar, for you. There you go. Now, what I want you to be was a magician. How many of you think I look like a magician here today? Yeah? Yeah. And I want you to be one of those magicians that you see on stage, producing things out of top hats and all that sort of thing. Yeah, those sort of very rich magicians. But in fact, there was one main reason why I wanted to do this. Do you know what it was? My dad was actually a professional magician. And like many young people here today, I wanted to follow in his footsteps. But as you can imagine, as I got a bit older, I decided I wanted to do something else. And as my ideas changed, as I went off to secondary school, anybody here from secondary school today? Anybody of that age? Maybe one or two people hiding at the back. I decided, magician, no, but I decided to join some clubs. Now, the new magic that I was into was science and magic, and that's me, believe it or not, when I was about many of your ages here today. And the bloke next to me, how many of you have heard of Bill Oddie? Yeah. That's me and my mate Bill. And we used to go bird watching. Anybody ever been bird watching here today? Yeah. And we loved it. And I used to go, and the other thing I liked to do was take photos. Anybody like taking photos? Yeah. It's great, isn't it? And I used to do that on a regular basis throughout the year. I used to sit in a tent, imagine a tent, looking out, looking at some lovely birds and lovely wildlife. And as I went through school, I met some amazing people. How many of you have got a favourite teacher here today? Keep your hand up if that favourite teacher is with you here this morning. Yeah, I thought one or two of you would say that. Now, certainly, I met a great teacher in the second year at school, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about him in just a second. And his name, get ready for this, he had a great name. His name was Dr. Warren. Isn't that amazing? Now, this isn't actually him, but he actually looked like that. Anybody ever seen a bloke like that before? No. And he had a great sense of humour, Dr. Warren. He dressed all in grey. Everybody say la-di-da. And he had little glasses. Everybody make little glasses on the end of your nose. That's it. And he looked like a Victorian doctor. Now, when I was your age, I was a little bit naive, and I thought all doctors looked like that. And I thought all doctors had little stethoscopes and things like that. But no, he was a doctor of zoology, and he taught me to love animals and nature. Isn't that fantastic? Very, very good man indeed. But when you look at him, you'd actually think he would give you the cane or anything like that. But of course, no, that was not his way. And as I went through school, I got a job. Give me a big cheer. And I got a weekend job taking lots of lovely photos. Now, how many of you said you like cars? Oh, one or two of you here today. And I used to take photos of car parts and big boats and things like that. And I said to the school that that's what I wanted to be, a photographer. But I had a change of heart. And maybe, was this my dream job? Now, you've all told me, or some of you have told me about your dream jobs today, and I thought that was it. But when I was at school, I was told to go and see a careers advisor. Anybody ever been to see one of those who tells you what you should be? Yeah? Anybody ever been to see one? Well, no doubt some of you will. And for anybody who could guess what they told me my perfect job would be, you win yourself a Mars bar. So, let's have a few more people to have a guess. What do you think the careers advisor told me was going to be my perfect job? Let's go for these ladies first. Speak loudly. What do we think?
A car driver.
A car driver? No, but that's a very good guess. Think more weird. Think more strange. Any ideas? Right, who are we going to go? This gentleman there, he looks like he knows.
A zookeeper.
A zookeeper? No. I'll tell you now, to cut to the chase, it has nothing to do with animals. So let's see who's going to give me the strangest answer. Any ideas? What about some of these people over the middle here? There you go.
Librarian.
A librarian? No, we're going to have one more go. Even weirder than that. What do we think? Let's go right to the back row over there. I'll go get a Mars bar. Not a toilet cleaner from that chap who just said it. Can't hear you. Tell me.
Undertaker.
An undertaker? No, but that's a good answer. Give him a nice big round of applause, everybody. There you go. No, it's even weirder than that, I'll tell you now. They said my perfect job was to work here in a sewage farm. Everybody say yuck. So that's what the careers advisor, based on the information I'd given to them, said I would be good at, working in a sewage farm. But no. So after that, I said to them, what if I go and get trained? What if I get some qualifications? Well, they said, no, you can't work with animals, David. You can't go off and do that. So you either have to go and work with your mum and dad, or you have to become good at photography. So I went for the latter one. But, as you'll soon find out, things don't always go the way you want them to go. Now, I went to college thinking I was good at photography, but unfortunately, I wasn't that good. So I had to leave and think again. Now, can everybody shout out what it says up on the screen there for me? Now, my mum and dad told me from a young age, you will get knocked down in life, you will have to pick yourself up again. And very often, you'll have to change what you want to do. And can everybody shout out what it says up there? It's very true. Very often people think you've got to get everything right every time. But in fact, no. It is better sometimes to get a few things wrong, and you learn a little bit more by doing so. So what next? Well, I went to my local newspaper. Anybody ever looked for jobs in a local newspaper? Yeah, one or two people. And I decided at that point I wanted to go work with animals. Give me a big cheer. And my first job happened to come up a few weeks after looking at Colchester Zoo. Anybody ever heard of Colchester Zoo here today? Probably one or two people. And that's where I went. I started my career at Colchester Zoo, and I spent a very happy 6 months there working with everything from snakes to elephants. And I learned to talk to people like you on a regular basis to tell them more about the animals. But after 6 months, another big challenge came along. Time to leave home. Everybody say, ah. At some point, we all have to do it, I'm afraid. And that's what happened next. And I moved all the way to a very special place. This is me gaining confidence before I went. And if you're wondering, by the way, how much you actually got in return in those days in the early 1990s, about £50 a week. So, you've got to conclude, it is a very, very special job. Now, everybody's probably seen the advert that I'm referring to up here. Comes in a brown jar, the substance I'm talking about. Can't really say the brand, but you either love it or hate it, and it's very true of this career. So, Chessington, this is where I went next. Went there for 8 years, very, very happily. And while I was there, I had to qualify. I had to become a zoologist. So, the good people there actually helped me. And I had various roles to actually live through. Flying birds of prey, also training sea lions. And then, I went off to the USA. I went to a place called Utica to go and get my qualifications. And that is where I studied and got my degree and worked for a number of zoos out there. There's me. Don't I look very young there, folks? Yes, I do. Look at that. And these are some of the wonderful animals that I actually got to work with along the way. Sea lions, all sorts of different animals. And I developed a great passion for presenting as well. Now, after I got my degree, I went off to somewhere else. How many people have ever been to Greece here today? Anybody been to Greece? Yes. I actually was invited to go out to Greece to actually help build a zoo. As it says up there, building a dream. And this is some of the lovely place that I actually helped to build, a lovely place called the Attica Zoological Park. While I was there, how many people like penguins? Yeah, I thought you might. Now, I actually had to get into the park in Greece, about 1,000 different birds. And some of them were penguins. Now, when we actually brought them into Greece, the Greek authorities had never imported penguins before, so they said, "Ochi, no, you can't bring them into Greece." So then I had to go and talk to them in English and Greeks and actually tell them that we needed to bring those in. And the good news is, they finally became Greek citizens. Give me a big cheer. So these lovely penguins are now living up in the Greek sunshine. Also, how many of you have ever seen a pelican before? Anybody ever seen those? Some of the weird and wonderful things I had to do out there. Some of our lovely pelicans decided to escape one morning. And I had to go traipsing off all over the fields in my pajamas and my slippers to try and catch them. As you can imagine, I got a few strange looks from the locals. And the good news is we finally caught them as well. So a few weird and wonderful things that happened along the way. When I came back to England in the early noughties, there were very few jobs in the zoo world, so I had to trade again. And I went to work for a big pet store. And there, I actually advised people on how to look after animals properly and the welfare that they actually take as well. After that, another zoo down in Kent, a lovely zoo called Wingham Wildlife Park, where I learned to manage more and different animals. And there's me. Everybody give me a big R, won't you? Ah. This handsome chap on my right, not this ugly chap, this is Alfie. Alfie's a lovely cockatoo, and he was a one-legged cockatoo, would you believe? So I had to actually look after him while he was down there. There's me meeting another one of my childhood heroes. Some of the older kids here today will recognise David Bellamy. Lovely chap, comes up to conferences regularly to actually have a chat with me, really nice guy. So along the way, meeting some very, very special people. And finally, moving up to the West Midlands, where we are today. My next job along the way was working for Dudley Zoo. How many of you have been to Dudley Zoo? Yeah, probably one or two. And that's me and one of my other guys as Dr. Dudley. I actually had to present lots of shows and clean sea lions' teeth, would you believe, as well. I spent a very happy 7.5, nearly 8 years there doing various things, encouraging people like yourselves to look after animals properly and conserve them for future generations. And along the way, how many of you have heard of the program Live and Deadly? I got to join in with filming of various things like this along the way, and things like Blue Peter. And if you're wondering who that other strange chap is up there, the other thing I lecture on is history. We actually do horrible histories. And that's me being the Baron of Dudley, talking about lovely things like rats and things like that. Now, part of my job is educating everybody, but celebs in particular. If you've ever listened to Radio 1, Scott Mills on one side, learning more about conservation of animals, and Lewis Moody, the English rugby captain as well, getting over his fear of spiders. Anybody got a fear of spiders here today? Well, you'll be meeting one a little bit later on. Isn't that good news? And at the end of it, I basically got quite a few awards for the sorts of work I did. So it does have its perks, its upsides as well. It is a lot of work, a lot of hard work. But there's me meeting Ruth Badger, actually one of the apprentice nominees. And now, what do I do today? Well, I work for one of the best colleges there ever is, South Staffordshire College, and I manage what we call the Animal Zone. The Animal Zone is a small zoo, which is based in the grounds of South Staffordshire College and is a very vital teaching resource. And there's me again, look at that. If you're wondering what that is, that's a sheep's horn that I'm actually holding there, very bizarre thing indeed. And we always have to try and find new and unique ways of getting people to understand why we need to conserve animals on this planet. So, many of you, by now, might be thinking, animal work, is that for me? If you become a zoologist, can you only do one job? Guess what? The answer is no. Hopefully today I've demonstrated there are lots and lots of different jobs you can actually do. And at South Staffordshire College, we offer a whole range of different courses for people to come along to when they're post-16. And you can learn more about animals, conservation, and then you can go on to higher levels of education to do your degrees as well. So what route should I take? Very often, I should say, many students actually ask me that question. Well, although you might think education is boring, learn as much as you can. It is a vital thing to actually do. Do as many courses as possible, learn more about the natural world, and learn key skills like English and maths. They're essential. Now, how many of you are easily scared? Put your hand up if you are. Now, a talk from me wouldn't be complete without live animals, would it? So, we're going to talk about my favourite group of animals now. Creepy crawlies, give me a big cheer. Oh, I think you could do better than that. A big cheer. Spiders, give me an even bigger cheer. And as it says at the bottom there, are they as deadly as they look, or are they misunderstood? Well, we're going to find out today. So, first of all, the hissing cockroach. Give me a big blah. Now, if I asked you, do you like creepy crawlies? I bet many of you wouldn't put your hands up. Put your hands up if you do, though. How many people like creepy crawlies? Now, if you're going to work in the animal industry, the chances are you're going to run into one of these chaps or one of its friends. And this chap comes all the way from Madagascar. Probably a daft question. How many of you have seen the film Madagascar? Yeah, it's a beautiful island just off the coast of Africa. And these guys spend their lives scurrying around on the forest floor, eating a whole variety of organic waste. Doesn't sound too bad, does it? No. Until I tell you what that actually means. Ear one. What it actually means is dead plants. Everybody give me a big blah. Ear two, it means dead bodies. Everybody give me another big blah. And the third and final thing they like to eat, get ready for it, is poo! But let me put it this way to you. If there weren't animals like this, you and I couldn't live on this planet. So they actually do a very, very valuable job. And believe it or not, I have a colony of these living in my own home. They are such good pets. They do not bite, they do not sting, they do not fly. So first appearances can be very different to what an animal is actually like. The second one, the giant African land snail. Everybody say blah. By the way, before anybody asks, it's not that big. So, why are these important? Again, they recycle. How many of you lot recycle here today? I hope more than that recycle. I hope so. But these guys are nature's recyclers. What they do is they eat various things. So here we go. They eat dead plants. Give me another big yuck. And if you wonder how they get a big, shiny shell like that, they eat bones. Everybody go, ugh. But again, as they crawl around Africa, around the forests and grassland areas, they recycle. So it's very, very important to keep the planet healthy. And finally, do we have any arachnophobics in today? Well, I suggest politely that you turn away, close your eyes, do whatever you need to do right now. Because here comes my favourite, the spider. How many of you like spiders? Excellent. Now this is a Chile rose tarantula. Now it's big, but it's not the biggest. If anybody's wondering what the biggest spider known to man at the moment is, it's the Goliath tarantula. And when it's fully grown, it grows to the size of a dinner plate. Everybody say, ooh. Now, one of the things that people often ask me, because I love my spiders, how many different types are there around the world? Well, if you include things like scorpions, which are in the same family, and other creatures, there's about 35,000 plus species. So the chances are you're going to run into one of these one day. Now, the amazing thing is, though, when they get to this big, they're not that deadly. It's the smaller ones very often you have to watch out for. These guys, if you get bitten, well, it's like having a bee sting. Not too bad, really, is it? And what these guys eat is a whole group of invertebrates, things like locusts, and also things like small animals as well. So, as they always say, looks can be deceptive. Now, there is me on my journey to deepest, darkest Africa. The moustache is real for Movember, by the way. There we go. And I want to take some questions from you guys now about careers with animals. So pop your hand up if you've got a good question for me. Oh, no hands going up. Oh, some questions over here. Right, speak loudly so I can hear you.
Do you enjoy working with animals?
Do I enjoy working with animals? I love it. I absolutely adore it. Right, lovely question. Right, who else do we want to go to? Should we go to this chap in the blue top there? Let's come round this way. Right, come down this end. What's your question?
What are you scared of?
What am I scared of? Deep water. Not animals, though. There you go. Very good question. Right then, tell me, my friends. Let's just get the mic over to you.
Have you ever seen the biggest spider?
Have I seen a big spider? I've seen a couple. I've seen Goliath tarantulas right up close, and I've seen things like camel spiders as well up close. I absolutely adore them. Right, tell me.
Have you ever been bitten?
Have I ever been bitten? Lots of times by various things, but it teaches you to be much quicker in the future. There we go. Right, let's come around this way. Young lady, let's have a question for this young lady.
What makes being a zoologist better than being a vet? What makes it different?
Well, it depends which part of the caring profession you want to go into. A vet mainly specialises in medicine. I specialise in knowledge of all animals, so it's just a little bit different. But it makes it more special because you get to work with a wider range of animals. Right, there's a chap over here who's got a question. Where's the mic? There we go. What's your question?
What's the biggest spider you've ever saw?
What's the biggest one? Probably about that size, about the size of a dinner plate. Pretty big. And you don't want to see one of those on a dark night. So there we go. Right, we'll take a few more questions. Yes.
Do you enjoy cleaning the animals out?
Do I what, sorry?
Enjoy cleaning the animals
Do
out?
I enjoy cleaning the animals out? Now, when I was your age, the answer would have been no. I absolutely hated it. But now it's just part of the job, and I don't mind it at all, because it actually helps keep the animals nice and healthy. There you go. Right, we'll take your question.
If you weren't a zoologist, what would you be?
If I wasn't a zoologist, what would I be? A very good question. I think a film star. There you go. Right, we'll take a couple more questions over this side of the room. And then, folks, I do have the live animals with me, so you can come and see them in a second. Yeah.
Out of all the animals that you work with, which one's your favourite?
Which one is my favourite? Sea lions. I absolutely adore sea lions. There we go. Right, we'll take one more question over that side. You've forgotten, don't worry.
What's your favourite spider?
What's my favourite spider? Now, I love orb spiders, the ones that you see on hedgerows with a big abdomen when it's all cold and misty. They're my favourite ones. Right then, guys, how many of you like to meet some animals up close? Right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the table round so it's at the front of the stage, and you'll be able to come up and have a look. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hold them for safety reasons, but you will be able to have a good look at them. And I'd just like to say before we do that, thank you for being a great audience, and it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much, everybody. Right then. Okay, don't come up onto the stage, guys. If you hop down, you'll be able to see it. So, guys, don't come up onto the stage, if you will, please. That's it. There we go. Now, just going to turn this over so you can actually see them properly. There they are. These are cockroaches. There you go. There you go. And we've got a very large tarantula you saw up on the screen there, and some very large snails indeed. Aren't they beautiful? Excellent. Yeah. No, because I've been told not to by the organisers. So I would love to, but I've been told not to, so just there.
If you've all had a look, do you want to take a step back and then others can have a look?
There we go.
If you've all had a look, you take a step back and then we can.
I'm not allowed to by the organisers. I've been told I could take one out. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Careful, guys.
Okay.
Once you've all had a look,
Yes.
don't get on the stage.
Oh, that was not allowed apparently under the risk assessments. We can't actually take them anywhere near the children, we've been told, so.
Even a snail?
No, nothing at all. I know, it is a pity.
What about if you took one out and just held it there then?
Okay.